In the next edition of It's About Money, my guest will be Joseph Johnny, and he's the author of Swagger, The Way of the Sway to Sales and Life Success. Stay tuned for the next edition of It's About Money. Hello and welcome to another edition of It's About Money. I'm Nanette Nocan and thank you for joining us. I'm thrilled today that my guest is Joe Johnny. I've known him for many years, a couple decades, and he is an entrepreneur, a leader, coach, a mentor, and an author. And so thank you for joining us today, Joe. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Nanette, for having me.
So in the last few decades, we've heard a lot of about emotional intelligence, that it's really in determining success, that's a big deal over IQ, intellectual intelligence. But you're talking about motivational intelligence, which is really unique and I think values-based. So tell me about how that is different in terms of leading a meaningful and successful life.
Yeah, in simple terms, first off, looking at, emotional intelligence versus motivational intelligence. Emotional intelligence is really about helping people to understand how they interact and communicate with other people. Motivational intelligence is the study around helping people to understand how they speak and interact with themselves and their ability to get out of their own way and achieve and do the things that they really want to do with their life. So that's really what motivational intelligence is all about, and that's a difference. And as it pertains to IQ, I have met, and I know you have met many people that are tremendous people, extraordinarily brilliant in terms of knowledge, IQ, but it's not about simply having knowledge. It's not knowledge in and of itself that gives you, myself, and your viewers, all of us power in life to achieve what we want out of life. It's our ability to actionize that knowledge, which again lies in getting out of our own way through motivational intelligence, understanding what causes us to move or not move in life, what causes us to execute or not execute. And that's really why motivational intelligence is so critical, even over and above and beyond in many cases than even IQ.
I see. It's really important to learn that. Now, you've been a master at sales training and leadership, and have trained for many organizations around the world. What made you decide to write a book? I mean, it's excellent book from the beginning, from the foreword. I'm like crying when I'm reading it. So, so what made you decide to do? I think I know, but let's share it with our guests.
No, thank you. Yeah. Well, about 27 years ago, I had a hypothesis about the void that I felt existed within corporate learning, the way companies train their employees, and really adult learning as a whole. And that is that the majority of adult learning is heavily steeped when we come out of formal education. It's heavily steeped in skill training now. In other words, how do you do something? It's heavily steeped in process training. I've always felt very strongly, and I knew from having a mentor early on in school, coming out of college, that it's about helping people to get out of their own way, and it's really about giving people the self-efficacy and the confidence and the conviction that they can do the things that they need to do. They can master the skills and the processes. And so the breakdown really in that void was the lack of helping people to really develop at that mindset, belief, conviction level. And so, I had this hypothesis and I went to the marketplace, and, we were very rapidly picked up amongst the majors, as you know, across industries. So, whether it's, in the pharma industry like a Pfizer, or, consumer products like Procter & Gamble, or in the world of global banking, companies like Bank of America, HSBC, the oil industry, Baker Hughes, GE Oil and Gas, Weatherford. All these organizations, once they understood this IP, this motivational intelligence, they really understood that it was a missing piece, it was a gap. So the hypothesis held true. And for the last 25, 26, 27 years, that's what myself and my extraordinary talented team has been doing within these organizations. But these companies have paid millions and millions of dollars throughout the years to tap in and access that IP. I wanted to write a book now because I wanted to tell the story. I wanted to tell the personal story about, how I came to learn about motivational intelligence. and really the development of the proper mindset and beliefs to get what I wanted to achieve in life, but also then taking that to around the world and helping individuals and companies to do it. So the book gives us the medium now to share those stories, and also the ability for individuals all over the place to be able to tap in and access that IP if they find an interest in that.
I see. It's incredible. It's just a way that you could just read a few pages, go back to it, and learn a few more things. Now, how did you come up with the title, "The Way of the Sway"? That's pretty interesting to me. So if you could share that without giving away the book.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. When I first came up with Swagger and then the Way of the Sway to sales and life success, I had a little debate with some of my focus group and people that I'm close to and my colleagues, in that they weren't so sure. But I was very sure, I was very convicted that I wanted that as the subtitle and part of the working title. And the reason is because, number one, people that, achieve success, that reach high levels of success, they have a different way that they move and interact to life's experiences, whether they be opportunities or challenges. And they also have a different air about them, a different conviction about their movements. And so, they kind of have this moxie, this sway. But mostly it's more about the internal journey to success, which is how we all get where we want to go in life. And that means that it's about trying things, taking steps and making some mistakes and getting feedback and altering our direction and changing what it is that we need to do and changing who we need to become in order to have what we want out of our lives. So to me, it was the way of this way because of the confidence and conviction that you and I see in people that are tremendously successful. And I don't mean in an overbearing way, but I just mean in just the pure confidence. But it's also very rarely do people take a straight line to the success that they want out of their life to achieve their dreams. We zig and we zag and we ultimately progressively realize what it is that we want to achieve.
Sure, and often when we actually have a setback, that it could be the birth or impetus of something even better, right?
That's
Depending
right.
on what we learn from it.
Yeah, I think you bring up such a tremendous point because, we all truly start out not really being able to do anything. We can't walk when we're born. We can't talk. We can't ride bicycles. We can't drive cars. We can't start companies. We can't become a lawyer, a doctor, or a salesperson. Ultimately, we all start out with tremendous lack of abilities, and it's in trying and failing, trying and succeeding, but also trying and failing. And so much of our growth to reach in the very pinnacle of success for ourselves and really tapping into our abilities lies in being able to face those setbacks and those challenges and failures, quite candidly, head on and be okay with it, really okay with it, and knowing that that's really an integral part of the journey of the sway.
Sure, right, absolutely, because I think often people are immobilized by a failure, but it's really a way to kind of really think about what's next, right? How can you get better to get to the other place? So then you say that everyone wants a swagger. Mm-hmm. What is a swagger?
Well, everybody wants a swagger. What I mean by that is, that's a statement I make early on in the book, and what I mean by that is that everybody wants to have the conviction, the confidence, and the courage to not only envision what they want out of their lives, in their careers, and in their personal lives, in terms of relationships, financial well-being, physical well-being, but we all recognize that we have to overcome a lot in order to make those things happen in our lives. So, everybody wants to swagger, because deep down at the very epicenter of the human soul is all of our birthright, which is a yearning to want to grow, to want to become, to want to achieve more, and achieve the things that we want out of life. And so swagger is really embodies and captures that. Everybody wants the swagger because everybody wants to have the confidence and the courage to achieve what they want in life.
That's great. And one of the intriguing things for me is that talk about the sales, but then you also talk about all the aspects of life. Yeah. And so help me kind of connect that. I mean, in terms of the sales and life successes. There's one thing to be really good at selling, but then there's this thing about life success. Why does it matter?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, and it really matters because I go back to when I first came out of school. I worked for an individual and who took me under his wing, and virtually he had a philosophy, and that philosophy when he was teaching salespeople was really not a philosophy about sales. It was a philosophy about life. And at the very fundamental level of what he taught was that the greatest sale that every one of us will ever learn to make in our lives truly, again, whether we were going to be in sales or whether we're going to be a parent or whether we're going to be a friend or whether we're going to be a doctor or whatever we're going to be in life, all the different roles, the greatest sale that we have to learn to make is to be the best that we can be at whatever we pursue in life. And so that's why I connect the key to sales, but really life success, because the first sale really starts with selling ourselves, to believe in ourselves, to believe in our dreams, our thought impulses, that what we want out of life, in all aspects of life, again, not just in terms of our careers, but in terms of our finances and in terms of our relationships. They really can happen.
Mm-hmm. So if the focus is, if someone is a salesperson and their focus was just on selling without looking at the bigger picture, it's really hard to hold on to that.
Yeah, I've as a sales trainer, I've rarely have seen people that were strictly focused on just learning to master sales. The people that really rise and not only have tremendous success, but enduring success, they learn how to sell to be the best that they can be across all aspects of their lives, and it oozes out of them, and everybody who comes into their world, their life, whether it's professional or personally, they can't help but catch that fever too.
Sure, yeah, that's great. And you're absolutely right about you're the first one that you have to sell yourself to. Yeah. And so a lot of people say, oh, sales, that's really, but we're all selling to each other, to our own, in our own selves, to ourselves and to other people when we communicate. Yeah.
All the time,
yeah. Yeah, that's right. So how do people typically get in the way of success? You've mentioned that a couple times, that get in the way of, how do we do that?
Yeah. We all fall into that trap again, and no matter what level, whether we're just starting out in our adult life or whether we've been journeying for years, each new dream, each new goal, we all have to keep getting out of our own way. So it's a lifelong thing, number one, to share with your viewers. But the big thing is we get in our way, all of us, because of inferior thoughts and beliefs, typically surrounding ourselves and believing that we can achieve, that we can grow, that we have an unlimited nature to keep growing and becoming, to believe in not only ourselves, but again, our ability to create. Dogs can't create, elephants can't create, but human beings, we can create. We can have a thought impulse, we can have a vision of what it is that we want to have in our careers and in our personal life, and we have the power to make that happen. So, to me, that's really the main point.
I see. So feeling inferior about our thoughts being limiting in that regard.
Yeah, as opposed to developing optimal beliefs. Again, and this is what I mean, motivational intelligence is really about a series of proper beliefs, a mindset that really makes all the difference, that enables us to, no matter what the challenge is, no matter what the opportunities are, we have the right thinking, the right beliefs and convictions that enable us to keep moving forward. So, and that's really what it comes down to. So that's how we get in our, we sometimes get in our way, and other times, we don't get in our way. How many times have, people, you get an idea, you get a dream, you get a vision of what you really want to have, but we actually stop before we actually, even begin. That's that sabotaging. That's an inferior belief, a conviction that we're not capable or maybe not worthy. And then how many times where people sabotage themselves, where they actually start to pursue the dream, start to pursue it, the goal, but only to, run into challenges and setbacks and then stop or give up. And again, that's all driven and caused, that kind of behavior is all driven and caused by a lack of the right belief about themselves and about their vision and about, their abilities to make the things they want in life happen. So.
That's very good. Thank you. We're going to take a quick break. My guest is Joe Johnny, author of Swagger, The Way of the Sway to Sales and Life Success. We'll be right back.
Yes, but see, you don't have a college degree.
Well, no, but
okay, well...
Wait. Before you skip over me, can you at least hear me out? No, I do not have a college degree, but I've been working 2 jobs. since the age of 18. I've been doing internships while raising my little brother, and any moment that I can spare, I'm studying, just trying to better myself. Okay, I'm ready for this.
Wow. I'd love to hear more.
Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org.
And we're back. I'm Nanette Nokan. It's about money. My guest is Joe Johnny, is the author of Swagger, The Way of the Sway to Sales and Life Success. Thanks again for joining us, Joe. Appreciate it.
Nanette.
So I admire the book not only because it equates to money, which, you know, more sales lead to more money, but because it really looks at life successes. So when you talk with people about sales and life success, how does money play into that?
Yeah, you know, I think that when you and I study people who achieve great career success and ultimately rise in their vocation to higher levels of income, because that's how we're paid in life. We're paid based upon our abilities to actually deliver in whatever vocation we're in. And the higher our perfection, the more we earn, the more that we're paid. And so, you know, Swagger in the book specifically is really about helping people, again, to understand the philosophy of really recognizing not only the need, but the ability to rise and become lethal at whatever their vocation is. And when we as an individual become lethal at our vocation, the world parts and opportunities in terms of financial gain and new opportunities, bigger and better, just seem to come our way. You know, I always share with, you know, with my clients, I always say to them, I've never run into a CEO that says, no, we're all set, we don't need one more ace lethal salesperson in our organization, we're all chromed up with those kind of people, or, you know, or they never say to me, oh, no, we don't need one more master person that's lethal at customer service, we're all tapped out on that. I've never run into that. Or, you know, powerhouse administrator. It doesn't matter what the role is. Or one more lethal manager and leader. There is always a need for that. There's always an opportunity for that. And there's always the ability, people will pay for that.
I see. Yeah, you're right. No one is, because that's a very limiting thought to do that, you know, to think in that way. So when I read about the book, you talk about Randy, your mentor, quite a bit. So he helped you. The way he inspired you was just really inspiring for me, and I'm sure for all your other readers. What does it mean to have a coach and a mentor?
Yeah, you know, first off, I share with my own children as they've begun to enter into the adult world the significance of really looking for that special person or even people that they will meet in their journey that can really bring out the best in them. You know, I believe very strongly that having a coach and a mentor is really critical for all of us. Very rarely do people reach their full potential individually. We reach our full potential by having people that care about us, believe in us, and can bring out the best in us. So, you know, in terms of like when we corporately develop leaders in companies, we hope to see there's a clear demarcation between coaching and mentoring, and both are critical. Coaching is around really showing people how to execute, how to execute a skill or how to implement a process. And it's key because, you know, in order for us to rise and succeed, we have to know how to do something. But mentoring is something that is even more important. Mentoring is about helping people to believe that they're capable of doing the things that they need to do to succeed. It's about helping to shape and influence their beliefs about their ability to actually master a skill or actually execute a process at the highest level. And that's what mentoring is all about. It's really about developing people at that level, both the mindset level and then, of course, the skill and process level, which is the coaching side.
I see. So really important to differentiate, and he was a mentor to you. Yeah, that's great. So There's a lot of thought-provoking content in the book, so to me the best way to look at and learn from it is really to pick it up and like read a chapter, or sometimes just a section of a chapter, and put it away and really think about it. How have people read the book? Because there's a lot of content in what is the size of the book? You know, I mean, there's a lot of content in it. I just wondered what your feedback had been from your audience.
Well, you know, it's
from your
interesting. You know, I wrote the book, again, it's an entry into the discipline for people who are in a sales career, but it's been tremendous to me, the reaction I've gotten, because people have bought the book, but they've given it to their friends, they've given it to their spouses. So really people are really viewing it as much more than just simply a book to help people that are in professional sales. It really is a book that is taking on a life of helping people to succeed and build the life that they want to have. So that's the first thing. I think the other thing that's pretty interesting is I've had a lot of people come back to me that were in sales but then eventually got into leadership and management, and they read the book and they come back and very emotionally say how much it really helps them to either recognize how blessed they were in terms of the way they were taught through their careers, and also how proud they are of the way that they're teaching and helping other people. But also I've had other people come back and say, you know, it's rejuvenated them. It's given them a new insight of how they can do it better and more effectively. So it's been interesting, the broad embracement that I've seen so far.
That's great, yeah, and it's really, like I said, easy read from that perspective. So, you know, RIT announced that they're offering a curriculum on sales. What do you think in the fall of 2017? And I think it's a good idea because there's a lot of salespeople around. What do you think about the higher education institutions recognizing the value of training in sales?
Well, you know, when I first came out of college, my first job was in selling to colleges all throughout the Northeast. And so I was always baffled that it wasn't a core area of study, a core curriculum. I think it's tremendous, and I think it's great, RIT showing a leadership position and creating that curriculum. And the reason I think it's so key is, one, because there's, you know, so many opportunities in terms of when people come out of school to enter sales in all the industries. But to me, it's even bigger than that. To me, it's really when you stop and you look at, you know, history, the greatest movement in humankind has really come about from men and women who not only have the ability to dream, but they have that ability to actionize those dreams and make them become reality. Meaning they have the ability to have dreams, but to sell themselves that their dreams can come true, and then sell other people that they can join and they can literally change the world. So, you know, I think that I'm hoping that not only that people continue to build this curriculums, specifically with the leadership of RIT, but also, as they all do, that they really look at it from that perspective, a much bigger perspective than just simply learning how to sell a widget.
Sure. To me, you know, I look at it, go to higher learning institution to enhance your intellectual capacity, and then having the sales aspect of it. And if it's viewed from a motivational intelligence perspective, that it can really be strong, right? Because if you have the right stuff on what you know, and you have the right motivation in achieving your life goals, that it can be pretty powerful.
Yeah, that is the formula.
Yeah, I thought it's great. So what's next for an entrepreneur like you?
Well, I'll tell you, probably more books. My associates and I are right now working on writing the book, Motivational Intelligence, the tell-all, that'll pull back the curtain and share in great detail the work we've done within different organizations and how it's profoundly impacted them. I'm currently working on a book called Mojo, Mindset Optimization. It's an acronym, equals job optimization as well as life optimization. And I'm pretty excited about that as well. I think there's a real space and opportunity to share that with the world. But also I think technology is in the future, taking our IP and developing it into apps. Right now we're working very carefully on creating what I think is going to be one of the first virtual coaching programs, called Mojo, by the way, that'll be released probably in the next couple of months, maybe another 30, 60 days, where people can actually have not only a professional and a personal coach, but most importantly a private coach to really help them to get out of their own way and live the life that they dream about.
You know, that's great. So it's really using technology. There have been some coaches and mentors that use a telephone, you know, but it's different with some additional technology that's available to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because it really, you could broaden the tentacles of, you know, distribute what you can educate people.
Yeah, you
terms
know,
of
the
the way they
ability to
think.
have in our hands and, you know, and through, you know, Bluetooth, just be able to get in your car and drive across town and listen to, you know, a lesson and then being able to, you know, park and sit and, you know, maybe type and fill in, you know, whether it be, you know, a certain action step, and then, you know, a month later, 2 months later, it kicks out exactly what your plan is, you know, that kind of thing. There's so much ability right now that technology is going to offer. It has revolutionized every industry, but it's going to continue to do that, and it's going to really be a huge thing for the learning and development space. But I think that the future will be more than just desktop learning. It'll be mobile learning.
Sure, that's really great. There'll be an app for that.
That's right. That's right. Apps are in the future.
Yeah. So, as your organization is, how big is your organization?
Yeah, well, you know, we're a multi-million-dollar organization, and we train all throughout the world. So, you know, you name a country, we have dispatched and sent our trainers to those parts of the world. So we've trained in Russia, we've trained in Saudi Arabia, we've trained in Germany, we've trained in all throughout Asia, we've trained everywhere. So it's been quite a tremendous journey.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic to have the kind of the book. I mean, I know in your training programs there's a program that's, you know, used for that, but I think that taking it to another level of swagger, I think, is pretty exciting. So that's great. That's great. So I'm very excited to have had you here at my show, being you know, successful entrepreneur and business owner and author. It sounds like multiple times, and then also a technology, I guess, somebody who's going to break through using technology as a way to mentor and train other people. I think that's fantastic. So that's great. Well, I wish you the very best in all the future, you know, endeavors. So
Thank you, Nanette. Thanks for having me.
thank you. And thank you, our guests, our viewers. My guest is Joe Johnny. He is the author of Swagger, The Way of the Sway to Sales and Life Success, and also, I mentioned, entrepreneur, business owner, and mentor. So thank you, Joe, and thank you, our viewers, for joining us. Until next time, I'm Nanette Nocon.